So first of all, thanks a lot for having me here. And Jim, thanks for inviting me. I want to talk to you today about Colombia, South America, a country that maybe a lot of you don't think about in terms of the trade union issues there, but it's something the Steelworkers has been thinking about now for about 7 years. In March of 2001, in fact, Leo sent a delegation of 9 of us to Colombia to look into what is an epidemic of assassinations of trade unionists there. 4,000 trade unionists have been killed in that country since 1986. 4,000 in a country of 44 million people. And year after year, they account for the vast majority of all the trade unionists killed in the world. And that's why Leo sent a delegation down there in March of 2001 to do a fact-finding mission into what was happening down there. The first full day we were there, in that evening, on March 12, 2001, we were meeting with some miners from various mining unions, including a union that represents workers at a company called Drummond Company based in Birmingham, Alabama. As we found out the next morning, 2 brothers from that union, Valmori Locarno, the president of Drummond's local union, and Victor Orcasita, the vice president, were traveling on a bus home from work, a company bus. Only their bus was stopped by right-wing paramilitaries. Paramilitaries boarded the bus, asked for Valmori and Victor by name, said they were there to solve a problem that Valmori and Victor had with Drummond. They pulled Valmori and Victor off the bus, shot Valmori on sight, murdered him, took Victor away, tortured him, and killed him as well. We found out about this the very next morning when we went to the CUT office. The CUT is like the AFL-CIO of Colombia. And the office was in disarray over this, and people were visibly grieving. That very day, we contacted Leo's office, and Leo sent out a press release denouncing these murders and calling for the Colombian government and the U.S. government to seek justice in this case. After they were killed, another worker was elected to the unenviable position as the next president of that local union. His name was Gustavo Soler. Gustavo, as the unionists before him who were killed, asked, as those unionists had before they were killed, for special protection for the unionists. In particular, he reiterated their demand that they had asked for months before they were killed, to be allowed to sleep overnight in the mines when they had back-to-back day shifts, so they didn't have to travel the dangerous roads at night. Even after Valmori and Victor were killed, Drummond denied this request, even though it allows subcontractors to stay overnight, and even though it protects its American supervisors with 24-hour protection of the military. Gustavo, several months after the killing of Valmori and Victor, publicly stated in a press interview that he believed someone at Drummond had told the paramilitaries which bus Valmori and Victor were riding on the night they were killed. Shortly after this was reported, Gustavo was taken off a company bus on the way home by paramilitaries and assassinated. So the union, the Steelworkers Union, has been intimately connected with this case from the very beginning. And on the anniversary date of the killing of Valmori and Victor, we filed a unique case against the Drummond Company on behalf of both the union in Colombia and the families of the victims under an obscure law called the Alien Tort Claims Act. What is happening, as we went further on in the case, we found that there was very good evidence that Drummond not only allowed this to happen, but they actually paid for it to happen. And Drummond is not the only company doing this. You might have been reading recently that the Cincinnati-based Chiquita company pled guilty to paying paramilitaries who had killed hundreds of people. They also ran guns to these same paramilitaries. And do you know what their punishment was for paying a designated terrorist group, a group designated by the State Department as a terrorist group? They get to pay $25 million on a payment plan over 5 years for paying a group that is killing trade unionists in record numbers in Colombia. Could you imagine if someone in this country paid al-Qaeda money? Would they get to give a fine on a payment plan? In addition, their guilty plea allowed them not to even release the names of the officials who made these payments. And let me just tell you a little story. Chiquita Company used to be called United Fruit Company, based in Boston, Massachusetts. And in 1928, banana workers were killed by the military in Colombia at the behest of then United Fruit Company. This became famous actually through a fictional account in Gabriel Garcia Marquez's 100 Years of Solitude, which helped win him the Nobel Prize. So this is a problem that's been going on for years, and the steelworkers are trying to do something about it. We filed this lawsuit against Drummond. We filed a similar lawsuit against Coca-Cola and related bottlers. We've been aggressively lobbying Congress both to cut off military assistance to this repressive military that supports these same paramilitaries that are killing trade unionists, and to reject the FTA, which would give preferential trade to Colombia. The other thing I need to point out is while Colombia has the record problem of trade unionists being killed, as our State Department says, by paramilitaries being supported with intelligence, ammunition, weapons, logistical support by the Colombian military. While this is happening, the United States has given $5 billion to that same Colombian military since the year 2000, making it the third largest recipient of U.S. military aid in the world. This is a huge shame, but we're fighting back. And just last week, Senator Leahy held up $50 million that was scheduled to go to the Colombian military based on this scandal of trade unionists being killed. Finally, this is coming to light, and it has a lot to do with your union that you pay dues to, and to the leadership of Leo Gerard, and you should feel very proud of yourselves that we are fighting back. I feel that we're going to turn this around. And both the Washington Post, New York Times, and Miami Herald have reported that this FTA is now on the skids because of this trade union assassination scandal. And you can thank your union for it. Just last week, Leo sent a letter to numerous representatives on the House Foreign Affairs Committee about this Drummond case in particular and the trade union assassination problem in general. And we're already getting responses, even from Republican congressmen who are outraged by this and are finally coming to realize that a terrorist is a terrorist. And if you're supporting terrorists, we can't support you. Thank you.